it all starts with a dream. The protagonist is faced with a crucial decision. He has spent years putting off his big goal, but something inside him tells him that now is the time. Sometimes opportunities don't wait, and the feeling that time is slipping away pushes him to take action. He's excited but also scared. He wonders, what if I'm not capable? But the motivation to reach his goal is stronger than any doubt. He can no longer ignore what he wants. The protagonist knows the road won't be easy, but he's determined to face it. The excitement overwhelms him, and a spark of curiosity arises. How far can I go if I really push myself? The first steps are always the hardest, but also the most important. In his mind, he begins to visualize what he will achieve. He knows he's not alone, that many others have been in his shoes, but something inside him makes him different. The time for change has arrived. The challenge starts today, and there is no turning back. As he moves forward, doubts begin to creep in. Can he really do this? The voices of others, the criticism, and the comparisons start to weigh him down. "You're not good enough," it repeats in his mind. Every time he takes a step towards his goal, fear and insecurity hit him. He feels frustrated and empty. Why aren't things as easy as he thought? He realizes that the path he chose is not free of obstacles. The first signs of failure make him stumble. In his mind, the words of those who once doubted him resurface. "You'll never make it." That uncertainty fills him with anguish, and at times he wonders if he should give up. However, there's something deeper inside telling him that he's not ready to take a step back. Despite the internal voices telling him he can't, something within him refuses to give in. The thought of reaching his goals still motivates him to continue, even though he doesn't know how difficult the road ahead will be. Doubt is consuming him, but discipline and the desire to improve remain his fuel. With courage, the protagonist takes the first serious attempt towards his goal. He's full of energy, confident that everything will go well. But reality hits him hard. Things don't go as planned. Obstacles seem to multiply in front of him. There's never enough time. The results aren't what he expected, and tasks keep piling up. At first, he feels overwhelmed, as if nothing he does is enough. Frustration fills him, and desperation threatens to take over. "Why can't I do this?" he wonders, looking at the small failures accumulating. Every mistake feels like a new confirmation that maybe he's not cut out for this. At that moment, the protagonist faces the harsh reality that not everything is as easy as he thought. Doubt becomes a shackle, and the fear of failure paralyzes him. However, deep down, there's a spark of resilience that reminds him that all great achievements come with setbacks. Despite the reality check, a small, inner voice encourages him to get up, because the first attempt is never the last. The journey is just beginning, and mistakes are nothing more than lessons in disguise. The protagonist has reached his lowest point. After several failed attempts, his strength begins to fade. The days feel endless, and every small step forward seems like a setback. Doubts completely consume him, and for a moment, he feels utterly defeated. "Why am I doing this?" he asks himself. The inner voices of hopelessness invade him. "You won't make it. You'd better take the easy way." Sadness surrounds him, and the desire to give up grows stronger. In his mind, he is already preparing to quit, to stop fighting against a current that seems bigger than him. But then, a small spark of clarity appears through the fog of frustration. He realizes that he is at a crossroads. Giving up would mean the end, but moving forward could mean something bigger. In the distance, he sees a small light of hope, a reason to keep going. The struggle is not only against the outside world, but against his own fears. No matter how hard it is, the protagonist takes a deep breath and decides not to give up. He realizes that the key is to keep moving forward, even if he can't see the end. The protagonist is in silence, reflecting on everything that has happened. At first, he felt that every mistake was a defeat, but now, with a new perspective, he realizes something vital. There is no failure, only learning. Every stumble has been a lesson in disguise. He understands that fear and insecurity are not enemies, but signals that he is challenging his own limits. His mind starts to transform the pain of falling into motivation to improve. Every mistake brings me closer to my goal, he thinks. This moment of introspection is key. The protagonist no longer sees himself as someone who fails, but as someone who is learning, growing, and improving. Motivation is reborn inside him with more strength than ever. He has understood that discipline is not only about moving forward when everything is going well, but also about staying firm when things don't go as expected. Looking at his failures with a new vision, he finds the strength to continue. Something inside him changes. He has understood that every step, every mistake, and every struggle are just parts of the process that will lead him to success. Emotions, hope, motivation, excitement. Stay until the end of this story. Like, subscribe, and share the video. Don't miss what's coming. The protagonist begins to experience a true transformation. After reflecting, he realizes that he not only needs discipline, but also a positive mindset to propel him every day. He begins to integrate powerful affirmations into his routine that give him energy and confidence. At first, it feels strange, as if something so simple could change his life, but soon he starts to notice the impact. The affirmations are not just empty words, they are a way to reprogram his mind to see challenges as opportunities, not threats. He repeats to himself every day, "I am capable. I have the power to achieve what I set out to do." With every phrase, his energy grows and his motivation skyrockets. The difference is noticeable. Every day, he feels stronger, more confident. This discovery gives him a new perspective on success. It's not something that happens overnight, but something built day by day, with small actions, decisions, and positive beliefs. As he moves forward, the protagonist is not only reaching his goals, but is also changing his life in a profound way. He now knows that the key to success lies in discipline, but also in the right mindset. As the protagonist continues to apply the lessons learned, he begins to notice significant changes in himself. What once seemed unreachable is now within his grasp. His constant effort and new mindset are taking him to a completely different level. The small advances add up, and the improvement becomes tangible. He no longer fears failure because he understands that every step, no matter how small, brings him closer to his goal. In his day-to-day life, he has become more disciplined, focused, and confident. He now knows that the key to success lies in consistent effort, not in immediate results. The transformation is not only external, he has changed internally as well. His vision of the world and himself has evolved, and this gives him renewed strength. Surprise overwhelms him. What he once thought was impossible is now a reality in the making. He feels stronger, more capable, as if he is reaching his full potential. Looking back, he realizes how much he has grown, all he has overcome, and how daily effort has borne fruit. He knows he is not at the end of the road, but he also knows that every step he takes brings him closer to the success he has dreamed of. The big day has arrived. The protagonist is facing his final test, the moment in which everything he has worked for is at stake. Nerves take over him. Although he feels prepared, anxiety consumes him, and for a moment, he doubts himself. The hours of work, sacrifices, moments of solitude, and sleepless nights have led him to this exact moment. He wonders if he is truly ready, if he has everything he needs to succeed. Despite the uncertainty, he forces himself to stay firm. Nerves run through him from head to toe, but he also feels an intense emotion, a mixture of fear and anticipation. This is the moment when it will be revealed if everything he has done has been worth it. The pressure is enormous, but so is the satisfaction of knowing he has made it this far. The eyes of others are on him, and in that moment, he feels the weight of doubt transform into a force that propels him forward. He cannot afford to doubt. The moment of truth is before him, and there is no turning back. The protagonist takes the decisive step. The tension in the air is palpable, and anxiety turns into deep silence as everyone waits for the result. In that instant, the world seems to stop. The result is better than he had imagined. He has successfully overcome the challenge, and surprise overwhelms him. What once seemed so difficult and distant is now a reality. The people around him react with astonishment. Those who once doubted him now congratulate him. That moment of revelation is the recognition of the effort, dedication, and discipline he has invested. The protagonist can't help but smile, but he also knows that this achievement is not the end, but the beginning of something much bigger. The satisfaction of having achieved what he longed for fills him with immense gratitude. He has proven that discipline, perseverance, and constant learning can transform any dream into reality. But most importantly, he has proven to himself what he is capable of when he commits to something. That silence before the revelation is now an echo of success and pride. As the protagonist continued his journey, something incredible began to happen. The constant effort started to pay off. The small improvements that once seemed insignificant now began to accumulate and turned into something remarkable. Achievements that once seemed distant were now within reach. The change, although gradual, was evident. His confidence grew, his skills improved, and most importantly, his perspective on life began to change completely. One day, looking back, the protagonist realized how much he had grown. Everything he had learned and worked for now manifested in a stronger and more capable version of himself. It was as if something great was being born, a new version of him that he had never imagined. With each challenge overcome, he felt more certain that he was destined for great things. A sense of awe overtook him as he saw how far he had come. He was incredibly proud of himself, but also surprised by how quickly he had transformed his life. He was no longer the same person who had started this journey. He had grown, evolved, and become someone much stronger, more confident, and better prepared to face whatever came his way. The big moment had arrived. The protagonist was facing his greatest challenge, yet a test that would put everything he had learned to the test. The hours of work, the doubts, and the frustrations seemed to have brought him here, but the real test was now. As he approached the moment of presentation, nerves began to take over him. Was he ready? Had he done enough? Anxiety overtook him, and every second felt like an eternity. The fear of failure appeared once again, like a shadow that followed closely behind. However, despite everything, he knew that he couldn't turn back. No matter how nervous he was, it was time to prove what he had learned and achieved. He had to believe in himself. Everything I need is already inside me, he thought, repeating in his mind that he could do it. In the end, the nerves turned into a source of energy. Although he couldn't avoid the anxiety, he understood that these nerves were part of the process, a sign that he was doing something meaningful. With this affirmation in mind, he prepared to face the challenge with courage, knowing that, no matter what happened, he had come this far for a reason. The moment of truth arrived, and the tension was palpable. The protagonist took the final step, facing his greatest challenge with all he had. In a silence that seemed eternal, everything stopped. The wait was agonizing, but when the result of his effort was finally revealed, everyone's reaction was astounding. He had managed to overcome the challenge, and surprise and satisfaction filled the air. The spotlight was not only on him, but also on everyone who had accompanied him in this process. The testimonies of those who had witnessed his journey quickly followed. Everyone marveled at his transformation, at how he had achieved what seemed impossible. What had started as a distant dream was now a tangible reality, and the satisfaction of having achieved it was indescribable. Every doubt, every mistake, had been part of the recipe for this success. Now, the protagonist had not only achieved his goal, but he had also proven that constant effort, perseverance, and belief in oneself are the keys to achieving any goal. In that moment, he looked around and smiled, knowing that his success was not only a personal achievement, but also an inspiration for everyone around him. The silence that preceded the surprise turned into applause of recognition and respect. If you enjoyed this story and want to learn more about how to achieve your own goals, don't forget to check out more videos on our channel. Subscribe, like, and stay tuned for new content that will help you transform your life, just like the protagonist did.